The New York Islanders offense is MIA and the power play is putrid. We'll break down what went wrong in this frustrating loss to the Boston Bruins and how the Islanders can fix it. All that coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this Thanksgiving episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And thank you for helping to make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for almost 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 to the modern era. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey. And to all of you here in the United States, happy and a healthy Thanksgiving. We've got a lot to discuss after a frustrating 3-1 loss at home to the Boston Bruins. We'll have our hero and go to the game, and we'll talk about what's wrong with the Islanders offense and their power play and how they could fix it. We also have an injury update on JG Pageau, and we'll discuss some things that Islander fans have to be thankful for this year in an appropriate Thanksgiving episode. Let's start with the loss to the Bruins. And the thing that bothered me most about this is that the table was set. This was Matthew Barzal bobblehead day. It's the eve of Thanksgiving. But very few people have to go to work the next day. It's a sellout crowd. The crowd is buzzing. They're getting their bobbleheads. They're excited. The team had this wonderful 6-1 road trip. The building was buzzing before the start of this game. And then the Islanders go out, and on Matthew Barzal bobblehead night, who scores a highlight reel goal early? Matthew Barzal. And it looked like everything was going to be hunky-dory. And then less than 2 minutes after the Islanders take the lead, they give up a goal, and then the game fell into a disturbing pattern. The Islanders, throughout the game, had more shots on goal than the Boston Bruins. The final total, again, pretty one-sided in this one. Ilya Sorokin only faced 14 shots in this game. Jeremy Swayman of Boston faced 44. And yet, far too many of the New York Islanders' chances were not high-danger chances. And when they did get high-danger chances, more often than not, they missed their shots wide. And this may sound crazy if I told you before the game that the Islanders would have 44 shots on goal. And I would come in and start this show by praising the Boston Bruins defense. You would say, Gil, what are you thinking? But if you watched that game, what the Boston Bruins did, and you on the one hand, you give credit to the Bruins for the way they played the game. They prevented the Islanders from getting into the offensive zone with speed, could not create on the rush in this game, bottled them up, had 5 guys kind of standing around at the red line, so there was just no room in the neutral zone to accomplish much of anything. And unfortunately, the Islanders did not make adjustments, and they needed to. They absolutely needed to make adjustments under those circumstances. If you can't rush the puck in, you have to go to an alternative, whether it's dumping the puck in or shooting the puck in, or you need to figure out a different way to do it. And they didn't. The Islanders just didn't make the adjustment. And ultimately, this strategy played into the hands of the Boston Bruins. Why? The Bruins are a bigger, more physical team than the New York Islanders. We've talked about this. This is the third time the Islanders played the Bruins, and thankfully the last time this year, barring a playoff meeting at some point, which is fairly unlikely. But the Islanders ultimately had no answer for the physicality of the Bruins. And let's point to Nikita Zadorov, 6'7", 255 pounds. The Islanders have nobody who can match up with Zadorov. And so what the Bruins did is they took away the Islanders' ability to skate through the neutral zone, to enter the zone with speed, to create off the rush. And then, so what's the alternative? The Islanders have to dump the puck into the zone. Well, guess what? When you are dumping the puck into the offensive zone, you then have to forecheck and win a 50-50 puck battle. Problem? The Bruins, with their size, kind of are going to win a lot of those 50-50 puck battles. So your strategy ends up playing into the hands of the Boston Bruins. It plays to their strengths, and that is not what you want to do, and yet that is what the Islanders ultimately did. So the Islanders could not win, could not play the way they wanted to play, did not adjust, and failed to come up with an alternative, really, as far as, a way to get to scoring chances. A lot of shots, not a lot of scoring chances. And that was so frustrating because if you think about it, what did they need to do? You needed to go to the dirty areas. I'm going to go full Jack Capuano on you, right? You got to go to the dirty areas and you got to get those greasy, ugly goals. But that's not what the Islanders did. They did not do that enough. Not enough guys went to the net. I remember one play in particular. Kyle Palmieri went to the net, got a deflection. It didn't end up, going, I think it went wide, but he made the right play, deflected a shot as he went to the net, and it almost worked. But not enough of that was happening. The Bruins kept the Islanders on the perimeter. And when you are on the perimeter and the goalie can see the shot, it is easy for the goalie to make the save. So, 44 shots by the New York Islanders, 43 saves by Swayman. And one of the reasons is he was able to see these shots. And how many rebound opportunities did the Islanders get out of those 44 shots? How many shots from just outside the crease? How many deflections were there? It wasn't there enough. And there was volume, but there wasn't enough quality. So where was Anders Lee? Why wasn't, you look back at the goals scored by the Bruins. They had the one shorty, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But on their second goal, two guys in front of Ilya Sorokin. Two guys. Now, neither of them touched the puck. But why aren't the Islanders getting two guys in front of the net? Why aren't they screening the goalie? Why aren't they doing this enough? And yes, the Bruins have a size advantage, but You got to find a way. And if you can't, you need to find some players who will. Getting those greasy, dirty, messy goals, the tips, the deflections, the rebounds, that's not skill as much as it's hard work. Yeah, there's skill involved, but it's a lot of hard work, and you've got to be willing to put in that work to be successful. And last night against the Boston Bruins, not enough members of the Islanders put in the work. And ultimately, that is why you lose this hockey game. And I don't want to hear, oh, yeah, but the Islanders outshot them, 3-1, and they dominated the shots. No. The Islanders dominated the shots, but they didn't dominate the hockey game. The Bruins dictated the style of play, executed their game plan effectively, and limited what the Islanders needed to do to be successful. And that is the very definition of a smart road game. So, on the one hand, I give credit to the Boston Bruins, but the New York Islanders, Patrick Roy needs to make adjustments when plan A isn't working, and the Islanders needed to be working harder to get in front of the net, to get those rebounds, deflections, screen the goalie, get those greasy goals, and they just didn't do it. And the result is a 3-1 loss. And let's be clear here. We were all excited after the Islanders' 6-1 road trip. And it wasn't just the record. It was a 6-1 road trip where you beat some of the best teams in the NHL. But in the 3 games of this homestand so far, the Islanders have scored a total of 2 goals. And the fact that they won one of those 3 games is in and of itself almost miraculous. We have got more to get to on today's show. We are going to break down the power play and what's wrong with that. We'll have an injury update on JG Pageau. We have our hero and go to the game and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you could even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. And Islander fans, use your knowledge of the Islanders and the game of hockey on FanDuel. Check out the latest odds for Friday afternoon's game against the Flyers. It keeps every game exciting, and that's what we want. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, that first $5 bet, if it wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com. Check it out today. The power play. The power play. 0 for 4 in this game. -1 because they gave up a shorthanded goal in this game. And I got to say it, Matthew Schaefer, he was largely to blame for that power play, that shorthanded goal that the Islanders gave up. And yeah, he had 7 shots on goal. And yeah, he was on the ice more than any other Islander player, a little more than 25 minutes. But this, as friend of the show, Andre said during the game, may have been his worst game in a lot of ways. And yeah, he had some moments that were good, but this was not his best game. Let's be frank about that. But the power play has not scored in forever. And ultimately, you heard Matthew Darsh, you heard Patrick Roy, you heard Matthew Barzal, a number of the players interviewed over the last few days who all said, yeah, I love the looks that we're getting. We're getting our chances. We're moving the puck well. We're doing all the things we're supposed to do in order to create opportunities on the power play. And up until tonight, I would say that was pretty accurate. I mean, tonight, the power play was just dreadful. I mean, there was just no getting around it. But when you break it down, they don't ask the old cliche in hockey, they don't ask how, they just ask how many. Style points after a while, they're nice. It's encouraging that the Islanders are creating more opportunities and moving the puck better than they did last year when the power play was dreadful and they had to rally late in the season to finish 31st out of 32 teams in the league. But guess what? Ultimately, it's wins and losses, right? Ultimately, it's how many times does the power play put the puck in the net? You can make all the pretty passes you want. You can make all the moves you want. You could set up all these great opportunities. You know where the Islanders' power play was ranked entering last night's game against the Bruins? Dead last in the NHL with a 13.3% success rate. And then they went 0 for 4 and gave up a shorty. You got to finish. You got to finish. And I'm tired, to be honest with you, of these moral victories where the team is saying, yeah, we're better. We're moving the puck. We're doing more things. Okay. And I've been happy with it every day. If you've watched this show, you know I've said, yeah, I like the way the power play is looking. But there comes a point where moral victories aren't enough. And Patrick Roy has to either change up the combination of players on the power play, change the strategy of the power play, do something different. And I think it gets back to get guys in front of the net. When you're not succeeding, you go back to the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The Islanders need to get back to basics. You go back when things are not working, you start at square one. So go back and do those basic things that make a power play successful. Go to the net, put the puck on net as often as possible, screen the goalie, move the puck. Players move when they don't have the puck. You got to do all those things, and then you've got to get those rebounds, those deflections. You got to find the open man. This power play is killing this team right now. When you have 2 goals in your last 3 games and your power play is over on all of those games, imagine if they just got 1 power play goal per game out of those 3 games. It's a whole different story. So let's hope they kind of go back to basics and get something done, because this power play needs to change. Hero and go to the game. Hero, I'm going with Matthew Barzal for that very, very pretty goal that he scored. Not much else in the positive column to talk about, so we'll go with Barzy. And the go to the game is going to be the power play. 0 for 4, gave up a shorthanded goal. Yeah, there are a bunch of guys. The fourth line wasn't good again. They had that one really good game to close out the road trip, and then it's back to square one. Now, the fact that they moved Cal Ritchie up to the third line certainly didn't help, because Ritchie and Shabanov seem to have excellent chemistry on the fourth line. And now, they're not on the fourth line anymore. But ultimately, the power play has to be the GOAT of the game. Now, as far as the injury situation is concerned, Matthew Darche addressing the media and basically saying that they expect J.G. Pageau to play before Christmas. Now, we know that is a little more than 4 weeks away. So, at some point, he's going to miss the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on, how he rehabs or how quickly his body recovers from this injury. He also gave an update on Semyon Varlamov. Still no timetable for Varley's return. He has not played in, believe it or not, Saturday will be 1 year since Semyon Varlamov appeared in a game. Darsh saying it's a big rehab. He's taking the time that he needs. We're giving him all the help that he can get, and we'll see where it goes. Certainly not committed to saying that Varley will be back soon or ever at this point. To me, I believe it when I see it. I really would love to see Semyon Varlamov return, but like I said, it doesn't seem like anything is imminent right now, one way or the other. He is still in for a long-term rehab. And the Islanders need to figure out how to survive. I mean, David Riddick has done great as far as being Varley's backup or replacing Varley and being Sorokin's backup. But they have to figure out how to get more production without J.G. Pageau. And the offense has just stopped clicking. Got to go back to basics. Got to get the job done. And hopefully Patrick Roy is able to address this with the team and get back to what was working for them so well on that road trip. And if they can't, if teams are taking that away, because hockey coaching is always a chess match, it's move and counter move, then Patrick Roy and his coaching staff and this team need to figure out an alternative way to get pucks on the net and pucks in the net. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We'll talk about some of the things that Islander fans have to be thankful for. And for our Islanders' birthday of the day, a defenseman who later went on to become an assistant coach and a prominent member of several NHL front offices, but he had a cup of coffee with the Islanders during the 82-83 season. Let's see if you can guess who that is. All that and more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or phone. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where my money's going and how to make it work harder for me. And I love the fact that if you have a significant other, the two of you can stay on the same page by using Monarch. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com. Code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I wanted to take the time to discuss just some things that I'm thankful for as a member of the media and as someone who has been following this team and rooting for this team for longer than I care to admit. And there's a lot, really. And let's start with the big ones. As an Islander fan, I am thankful for Matthew Darsh and the fact that there is a new era of Islanders hockey. I thank Lou Lamoriello for his service, but it was past time to move on. And the first 6 months or so under Matthew Darsh have been refreshing. They have restored hope for the future, has made this team more exciting, and has started this retool where the team is improving on the ice and also moving in the right direction long term. He still has a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of older players on this roster with bad contracts and players that need to be moved on from. But again, younger, faster, more skilled. We'll add more physical to that list. That needs to happen for this team. But I am thankful for Matthew Darche and all he's done already, and hopefully some more good things that he will be doing in the future. I am thankful for ping pong ball number 13. What do I mean by that? That was the number of the ping pong ball that gave the New York Islanders the first overall pick in the 2025 NHL draft. And that is the ping pong ball that gave the New York Islanders Matthew Schaefer. I love watching this kid. Yeah, last night wasn't his best game, but 18-year-old rookie defensemen are going to have their moments that leave you saying, what was he thinking? Or, boy, he blew that one. But Schaefer has given this team skill, speed, energy, enthusiasm, and just some great play on the ice. And the very fact that Matthew Schaefer is even being considered to make Team Canada's Olympic team this year tells you how good he is so early in what could be an amazing career. So I am thankful for Matthew Schaefer. He is mature beyond his years, both on and off the ice. He is classy. He sees the big picture. He's been through a lot, but he's so mature for an 18-year-old, and he has helped revitalize this franchise. So I am very thankful for Matthew Schaefer. I am thankful for the heritage of this team, for 19 straight playoff wins, 4 straight Stanley Cups, and a dynasty era that was amazing to watch and be a part of. And the memories of those years stay with you for a lifetime. The heritage of this team, the Nystroms, the Trottiers, the Bossies, the Smiths, the Gillies, the Wayne Merricks. I could go up and Dave Langevin, Ken Morrow. I can go up and down the whole championship roster. But when you've seen hockey played at its highest level, the team that Bill Torrey built and Al Arbor coached to perfection, that my thankfulness for that never goes away. I am thankful for UBS Arena, that the Islanders did not leave town, got a new arena. I wish they would have kept it in the same location as the old barn, but, you know, politics is politics, right? But I am very thankful that the Islanders have a beautiful new facility, that they stayed on Long Island, and that this team is set for the future. So I'm very thankful for that. And just to wrap this up, and I could probably talk a lot longer about things I'm thankful for, but I am thankful for you, my viewers, my listeners, for the opportunity to do this podcast, to interact with all of you, to talk Islanders hockey 5 days a week and more, and do these shows and talk hockey. You guys are a great community. You know your hockey. Your enthusiasm and your kind words to me mean so much. So thank you to all of you. I want to wish all our viewers and listeners in the United States a very happy Thanksgiving, and just great tidings to all of our listeners and viewers around the world. And we've got people from England or the UK and Poland and Denmark. And I mean, it's been great to hear from all of you. So thank you, everyone, for being a part of this community and for helping to make Locked On Islanders what it is today. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And today is the 69th birthday of former Islanders defenseman Darcy Regier, the Swift Current, Saskatchewan native, 5'11", 190 pounds, a fifth-round pick of the California Golden Seals in 1976, made his NHL debut with the Cleveland Barons in 77-78. The Seals moved to Cleveland, became the Barons, played 6 games with the Islanders in 82-83 and 5 more in 83-84. Had 2 assists in 26 career NHL games and 35 penalty minutes. Never played in a playoff game in the NHL, but went on to be an assistant coach with the Islanders in 90-91, with the Whalers in 91-92, was the head coach of the Islanders Farm Club in Indianapolis in 84-85, and then went on to a major front office role with several teams over the years. One of his best games as an Islander, how about October 16th, 1983? The Islanders invade the Odd in Buffalo to take on the Sabres. Kelly Rudy, the Islanders goalie, Bob Sauve in between the pipes for the Sabres. And in this game, with the Islanders up 1-0 in the second period, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Darcy Regier, sets up Butch Goring for his 3rd goal of the year. Brian Trottier, the secondary assist. The Islanders end up winning this game by a score of 3-2. Darcy Regier had an assist. He was a +2. And even though he didn't have a shot on goal, his assist was critical to the New York Islanders' success. That was his only point as an Islander. Darcy Regier is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You can follow the show on X at Locked On Isles. You can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long. And I'm live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for a little instant insight and analysis. And it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Everydayers, we're back Friday. We will preview the Islanders game against the Philadelphia Flyers. And hopefully we will talk a little bit more about some of the things that Matthew Barzal said during his press conference before Wednesday night's game. So join us for that and a whole lot more. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.